So, I don't know where you grew up, but it seems to me as though where you grew up almost invariably has some sort of effect on who you are and how you turn out in some way, shape, or form. I grew up, I grew up in back and forth between New York and London. And in big cities, what did I learn how to do? How did I spend the vast majority of my youth? Usually skateboarding, doing graffiti, misbehaving in that youthful way with that sort of inner city sense of youthful abandon. Now, if you grew up in the countryside like my cousins did, well, they grew up knowing how to do a bunch of really useful stuff. Like they could fix tractors and lawnmowers and things like that by the time they were 5 years old. I myself am still incapable of replacing the chain on a bicycle. So it seems as though wherever it is you grow up has some sort of effect on who you are as an adult. Now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser, is one of the few people that you're going to meet in Los Angeles that actually grew up in Los Angeles. So his experience is a little bit different than yours or mine growing up, I think. Yeah. No, hold on. Talking about you. Sorry. Don't interrupt. It's important stuff that I have to establish to give context to the rest of the show. Now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser, had a different growing up experience, and he's a different kind of an adult because he lives in Los Angeles. He's unbelievably relatable to all of us because he is, without a shadow of a doubt, your everyman. But when you have conversations with Funkhouser, like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? You get some unusual answers, like, oh, I went and did karaoke with a bunch of porn stars, or, oh, it's funny. I was on this show and Jay Leno and David Spade pranked me. You have an experience like that. Super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser, and his lovely and talented girlfriend, Canadian Jane, will both be contestants on the Game Show Network show Idiot Test, hosted by the unbelievably hilarious and amazing stand-up comic Ben Gleib, who therefore is on the show today. Now, Ben Gleib, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me and providing such detailed context.
Yes. Good color you did there.
Yeah, thank you.
It really
was.
Very much. Now I know who I am and who Barry is, and he's from LA and can also probably not fix a bike chain.
Right. Can you fix a bike chain, Ben?
I can't put a whole brand new one on, but I can fix one only because I went to Burning Man 2 years ago and my bike chain got off, and you just have to. It's survival of the fittest out there, and all of a sudden your caveman instincts kick in if cavemen rode bikes, and I've just got it back on that track so fast, and I was just back alive.
But you being a Los Angeles native, learning how to fix bike chains was not part of your youth.
It was not a big part of my youth. It would break, and I would say, Dad, can we please walk the bike to the 76 station? And then they would fix it.
Right. So let me ask you this. If you are from Los Angeles and grew up in L.A., a lot of people move to L.A. to do things like stand-up comedy. You, being from L.A., when did you start and how did you start?
I always wanted to be a comedian since I was a young kid, and since I was 5 or 6 years old. But I had a speech problem, so it made it difficult to even talk, let alone be a professional speaker. And then at the end of high school, I got a radio show where people couldn't see me hitting my speech blocks, and I had friends co-host with me, and they'd kind of jump in the gaps. And then in college, I started doing a TV show and worked through my problems on the air, and then graduated UC San Diego, and I had this TV show back there that became a big thing on campus, and graduated, moved down to LA, and started acting training, and started much more intense, and I was part of improv troops, and then the Empty Stage Theater, and then started doing stand-up, and that's what really started to take off for me, which was good because it was always my first love.
And well, we'll get into exactly how Ben Gleib wound up being the host of Idiot Test in just a little bit. Also, we have some shaky moral ground upon which we're about to walk that we have to clear up. It's okay that you're talking to the contestants before they go on the show, right, Ben?
Uh-oh.
That's a thing?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We are joined on the show today by comedian Ben Gleib, who is not only a comedian of great amounts of notoriety, but also the host of a game show on Game Show Network called Idiot Test, which super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser, is going to be competing on tonight.
How did that happen? What the heck?
Yeah. Actually, how did that happen?
I saw an email, I applied to it, and I went, I wonder if I could do this. And then 12 steps later, here I am.
When I referred to being on a bit of morally shaky ground earlier, I think some people were just like, hold on a second. the host of the show is going to be on your show before Funkhouser goes on his show. What the hell is going on around here? And well, you know what's I mean, I bring it up.
Whoa, man. Whoa.
I bring it up because it was kind of crazy the way it happened. What's the name of your producer?
Oh, we got a lot of producers.
dude.
I would not know the answer to that.
How about
Is it
Mark?
Mark
Grossman, GSN PR.
That's him.
Yeah,
I think. But like it was crazy.
He's a
how it
wonderful
happened.
man. He's a handsome man. He looks like like a leaf or pepper or like a little koala bear.
Well,
Horrible.
the koala bear-esque PR dude reached out to us after he heard, because we were all excited. We're like, yeah, Funkhouser's going on a game show. This is going to be great. And he reached out to us. He's like, I heard you talking about Idiot Test on your show. Would you like to have the host, Ben Gleib, on? We're like, holy crap, somebody actually listens to us. This is great. Someone like, some show businessy type in L.A. is like, oh, wow, you know what's next? AD and Funkhouser. And it turns out they have some sort of service that any time the show is mentioned whatsoever, they get a ping of some sort. It's
We do.
crazy.
It's a pretty
It's so
incredible
Big
service.
Brother.
It's pretty incredible service. And I don't live that far away, so I was like, let's go ahead and do it. And right now, Barry Funkhouser's on his own Facebook page, just so you know.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out how to share. I don't share.
He's
often.
on his own Facebook. Counting them likes.
So we're going to get into how you became the host of Idiot Test in just a little bit, but you
Sexual
went to
favors,
college.
but I can give you more details later.
So the Game Show Network casting couch actually is a thing. I've been wondering for some time.
Yeah, it's more
now.
of a casting podium and the only way you know when they're finished is when you hear that buzzer.
the Game Show Network casting stirrups.
The best way to try to seduce somebody who works at the Game Show Network, you have to say, let me see what's behind door number 3. That's what you have to say.
So you went to college in San Diego, UCSD, right?
I did.
You started doing some television and some radio while you were in college, and that's sort of how the stand-up thing evolved. How did your parents feel about the whole being a stand-up thing? Was it something that they supported, or was it something that they were like, oh, hold on, we have college education? What was your major? Does this have anything to do with it?
They were probably too supportive. They didn't even for a minute try to discourage me from it. If they had, maybe it would have worked, and I would have had a normal job. But they were very, very supportive, and they never questioned what I did. And I didn't study in college very much, but I did work really hard on my TV show, and I learned everything about TV production and how to write and host a TV show and act and direct and produce and all that, and get the Marines to give you money and bring you in on a tank in the middle of your college campus so that for the very end of your college experience, you finally get a couple dates and still mess it up because you're awkward around girls and you try too hard and agree with everything they say on the date. And then on the date, they're like, you don't have to agree with everything. And I'm like, no, I know. So I even agreed with that. So that's the kind of thing that happens when you're great at producing.
Wait a second. You rode into your college graduation on a tank?
Into my last show in college on a tank. Well, my second to last show. On a tank. The Marines brought me in. I had a torch, and I was in the middle of a tank, in the middle of the campus, and then I marched down, and it was a very elaborate intro. Too elaborate, some would say.
Yeah, tanks don't go very fast, right? They're just
They are. It's a real slow roll.
You have to
like
speed up.
Yeah, at first it's like, oh my God, Ben Gleib's on a tank in the middle of our campus, and then 8 minutes later, like, all right, we got it. Can you get off the tank and start the damn show already? It's. You know you're on a tank. Congratulations. What are you trying to recruit us for the Marines here?
How did it come to pass that you showed up in school on a tank?
I'm just good at producing, I guess. I'm good at convincing people to do things that I want them to do. And so the Marines were on campus trying to recruit people all the time. And I got the idea that I'm going to, hey, it'd make you guys look really cool if you sponsored the popular college TV show and made the Marines look super cool. And I became friends with the recruiter dude, the captain in the Marines, and he took me out to lunch and we talked about it, and he said, yeah, that actually makes sense to me. And so they brought 2 tanks from Camp Pendleton, 2 LAVs, light armored vehicles, and a Marines Humvee, and gave me $1,000 towards the budget of the show. They paid me for this.
What?
whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Taxpayers.
See,
There it is.
Taxpayer
You see what,
dollar right there.
you see what Ben Gleib can do there that we can't, Funkhouser? Like, It's that thing. It's that thing where at the end of a conversation, you go, give me some money. And they do. That's
But I'm going to be honest with
unbelievable
you,
stuff.
tanks are a lot less impressive on the radio.
What's the most they can walk away with?
Why don't you let Jane
Yeah,
answer
come
that?
on, Jane.
We compete to solve puzzles faster than our opponents, and each puzzle has a dollar amount attached, and the dollar amount goes up climactically toward the end of the show, and then there's this big $10,000 prize if somebody wins.
So
Each test, the time ticks down, and you lose money every second you don't answer the tests. You have to answer on a big touch screen, these logic puzzles, these brain teasers that I help create along with our amazing team of writers that create the tests, the challenge producers. And then, yes, the grand prize is $10,000. That was not a lie that Jane just said. And Canadians often are fibbing. They're like big fibbers. They like to exaggerate. But in this one in particular case, she did not lie.
Conniving is the word most people
Conniving Canadians.
use.
That's exactly right. With that can-do attitude. Can-do as far as lies. Why don't you pour maple syrup on your currency some more and make it stick right down to the bottom of the currency jar, because we've overtaken you again, Canada. So why don't you just slow your roll?
let me ask you this: in the context of idiot test, all the marbles is $10,000. So there's $10,000 on the line for Funkhouser and Canadian Jane tonight, right?
That is correct.
No wonder you guys have been practicing. That's Funkhouser, do you have that stuff that you sent me? Because like he sent me some practice questions, and there was one where I got the answer. It was the one with the paintbrush.
It's on the Idiot Test Twitter page. They put up some samples. And
at Idiot Test Show.
Yeah.
IDIOTESTSHOW.
And the lateral thinking nature of all the questions is kind of nifty and cool, and I could see why people would be glued to the game show. That's awesome, and I can't wait to watch Funkhouser and Jane on it tonight. But I did take umbrage with one of it was like this painting thing. And
please, bring me the umbrage. I can't wait for umbrage.
I think
I will defend every test to the death.
I don't even remember what it was, but Funkhouser was like, "No, you're wrong." I'm like, "No, I'm right."
Well, I want to know what it is.
And I would win.
It's a painting, okay, and the question is, what was the first color touched to paint this picture? I can't remember what the answer was, though.
See, because the tests are so good, they get you even after you know the answer, which is a real... Honestly, it's not even so much us. It just speaks poorly to your intelligence.
Well, I could see where it was going with the trick question-y nature of it, but being somebody who spent some time studying painting, I was no, that's wrong.
The answer is red because the person holding the paintbrush is red. You have to touch the brush.
That's what I said.
Painting.
This might be one of those conversations that doesn't work so well on the radio.
I can give you...
Look at that.
If you want, I can give you some audio idiot tests that do not require visuals at all.
What was the first color touched to paint this picture? Mm-hmm. The answer being red, because the paintbrush is red. Correct. And you're touching the red paintbrush. However, I'm telling you now, that paintbrush has never once been used to paint a picture. It's completely clean. I understand.
No. You have to clean your brush between colors. You got to clean your brush between colors.
Right, but as much as you clean it, it never goes back to looking like that fresh out of the package.
I'm seeing some darkness in it.
No, you're not.
Darkness. I'm looking at it across the room, but I'm seeing some darkness. But if that's true, if it looks 100% clean and you can tell that it is not... Oh, wow, my headphones just kicked in a weird way. If you can tell that it's never been used... Let me see that closer. Can I see that closer?
Yeah. Come on up.
I'm going to come right over.
Yeah, come on. See it there? Take that. Take that there. Yeah.
No, I see granules. I see darkness.
He sees darkness. I see granules,
I think those
too.
I really feel as though that's...
No, if you are a painter,
light.
You know that if you immediately take that brush and put that in that water, your water's a little warm. And also, if you're a neurotic painter like I am, you're going to put it in there and then just immediately get it out.
Even when you soak paintbrushes in turpentine, they just never return to that fresh out the package thing.
That is not true. You never studied under the tutelage of my grandmother, Dina, who taught me the way to paint and to clean brushes. Her brushes looked immaculate for years on end. You'd never believe it was drawn. And she's from China. where painting has a long, rich history of tapestry
You know
that
who you're
defined
messing
the
with.
culture. So I'm sorry to say, but I
You
disagree.
never took 8th grade art with Miss Vikapel at the American Community School of London, where I learned how to. Anyways,
Oh, man,
this
this
could
is
go
like
on
a
for quite
battle.
some time.
But I will tell you
this
this:
is,
these are the kind of details that this might have been a season 1 question. These are the kind of details that I have taken upon myself in all subsequent seasons. We're now in season 3 to do. We all the time will make tweaks. Like I will say, maybe we should put a little bit of used paint on more clearly on the brush. Make some of the colors on that palette look a little bit disturbed, so it looks like they've been used more. Those are the kind of details that we have gotten much more diligent at as the seasons have progressed. But on Twitter, we like to post all of our old tests.
Can you give us one of those audio ones you were talking about?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Can
I'd be
you
happy to do that.
I got some music.
Oh, it's like romantic thinking
Yeah.
music. As we walk towards the beach and the ocean waves. All right, here we go. Ready? You have 2 coins totaling 30 cents. One of them is not a nickel. What 2 coins do you have? Your idiot test starts now.
AD, do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's like,
Am I participating?
Can you repeat the question?
Were you not listening, AD? Because this is your show.
I was preparing because I was letting Canadian Jane and Funkhouser practice for tonight's outing.
All right.
We practiced enough.
All
It's your
3
turn.
of you, whoever wants to answer. You have 2 coins totaling 30 cents, and one of them is not a nickel. What 2 coins do you have?
Oh, I actually know the answer to this one.
Please.
I think. I've done this one before on some lateral thinking thing, and I couldn't remember what it was, and I skipped to the back of the book.
So you do know it or you don't know it is what you're saying.
No, I don't know it. What is it?
The answer is a quarter and a nickel.
Wait, what was the twist at the beginning?
You have 2 coins totaling 30 cents, and one of them is not a nickel. What 2 coins do you have?
Yes. There you go.
One of them is not a nickel. I didn't say
The
both
other
are
one
not
is, though.
nickels.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, this is good. This is good. I can see why people would enjoy the show. I can't wait to watch it. Very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting.
Stuff like that, you know.
It's not that
Yeah.
dramatic a lot of the time.
How about this one? How about this one?
Oh, another one?
Yeah, I'll give you another one.
Okay.
Can I get you? Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Your next idiot test also begins now. If you're in a running race, what place are you in when you pass the second place person? Anyone?
If you're in a running race.
First place.
No, second place.
Incorrect, Jane. Correct, producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser. You're the
Thank
new
you.
second place. You haven't passed the guy in first.
I'm used to being number 2.
You passed the person in second. You haven't passed the first place guy yet. Only the guy in second, man. Come on, get with the program, dude.
All right, let's do one more.
All right.
Oh, are you ready? Are you ready?
All right. Tommy has a foot-long submarine sandwich.
Uh-oh, careful.
How many 6-inch submarine
sorry, just-
sandwiches do you need to have as many as your friend Tommy? 0, 1, or 2?
Ooh, that's a good one for Jane.
I was distracted by the joke.
Why does Jane like footlongs?
I can't just. I'm just say submarine sandwich again in the same way.
Submarine sandwich.
I don't know why it's funny, but it is.
Submarine sandwich. A submarine.
So wait. You have a foot-long submarine sandwich.
Right, and how many does your friend need? How many 6-inch submarines does your friend need to have as many submarine sandwiches as you?
1.
That is correct. Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
Nicely done.
This sounds good because you know what? When you get the answer, you feel good about yourself. Like this is like this is a fun game to play and a fun game to play along with at home. How did you wind up being the host of Video Test on Game Show Network?
I give great oral tests to people.
gosh.
Oral tests to people verbally. I had done some things on Game Show Network over the years, and they said to me when I was drunken during a taping of Mind of a Man, a show that they had on the air for a while, hosted by D. Ray Davis, the great. And they got us drunk on the air and wanted us to drink. And I'm drunkenly in the hallway, and Barry Nugent, the VP of the network, says to me, we're looking for a show for you. We'd really love you to host a show for us. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And I thought in my head, like, that's another Hollywood conversation that means nothing. And then, lo and behold, they in fact, said, would you host a conference room run-through of this show called Idiot Test and meet with the producers and learn the game? I said, sure, and I met the producers, learned the game, and then forgot the date that we had agreed to and booked a rare vacation to New York. I never take vacations. They're not work-related, but I did. I was dating a girl in New York at the time, and I wanted to have sex with her and also talk to her in that order. And it was fun, and I forgot that I'd accepted the thing, and then I was at the Jewish holidays at my parents' house with my family and my friend Eliza Schlesinger, the great comedian, and I said to her...
She's freezing hot.
She is freezing hot, yep, and wears war paint.
Oh.
And I said to her, and her Netflix specials are available under those titles, competing with my Showtime special, Neurotic Gangster, airing now on demand and on Showtime. Please keep that in mind.
Ding, ding.
And so I said to Eliza, should I fly back for this conference room thing? My mom's like, don't fly back. You always fly back. It leads to nothing. But Eliza's like, I would fly back.
You said your parents were encouraging.
It's true, but after so many years in this business, they also get a little bit of realism that sets in. And they were encouraging back when I was in college. Now they're like, okay, another show, great. Do we have to watch this? And so Eliza's like, I would fly back. And I called the producer. I'm like, you know what? Could I actually still do it? And he's like, we already offered somebody else, man. I'm so sorry. But I'm not sure if he said yes yet. Let me call. If he hasn't said yes, you can do it. And they called me back and said he did not yet say yes, you can do it. I don't know who it is to this day. And I flew back for just 12 hours in the middle of my New York trip. Flew back to L.A. just to host this run-through. Was late, was on no sleep, flew a red eye each way. And the run-through went so, magically delicious that they picked up 40 episodes just from the conference room. No pilot was made, nothing.
Wow.
Went straight to a 40-episode season.
Bam.
So that was good. It was a good conference room.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So how long have you been doing it now?
Now we're in the middle of season 3. We've done 145 episodes. And
so you're actually like a stand-up comic that has a job.
Yeah.
And do you manage to make that work with your stand-up comedy? I remember hearing, I think Drew Carey it was. Drew Carey said he loves doing Price is Right because he was like, man, the money is fantastic and the schedule, you really can't beat it because it gives you time to do a bunch of other stuff. Also, I wanted to own a soccer team and this has allowed me to do that. So,
that's the incredible thing. I mean, we block shoot in advance. We shoot 5 episodes a day. So the whole season's done very quickly. And so it frees me up for much of my year. I own a few ostriches. I mean, things are going great.
Yummy.
I keep a lot of them in my backyard, 3 or 4 of them in my backyard. Depends how many of them are hiding. I've lost count, but and I keep some of them on a local ostrich farm. But they swim. Do you know that? Ostriches like to swim with you, and you can go on their back, kind of like a pool floaty.
Funkhouser, we got to do something different. I need some big time ostrich.
You want an ostrich in your life? Okay, I'll work on
several.
And what's really fun and kind of depressing is when you ride them and then you eat them because it's you feel close to them and you want to use every part of the ostrich.
Our guest on the show today is stand-up comic extraordinaire and host of the game show Idiot Test, Ben Gleib. An extra layer of intrigue that's in this particular situation is the fact that super producer to the stars Barry Funkhouser and his girlfriend Canadian Jane are going to be on Idiot Test tonight on Game Show Network competing for $10,000.
$10,000.
I hope we win. I wonder if we will.
So this is a little unusual, you getting to spend this amount of time with the contestants beforehand. But do you spend in general? Do you get much of a sense of who the contestants are and what they're about before they play the show? Or
I don't. I don't generally like to meet them.
Yeah, this is probably really weird for everybody.
I'm not even allowed to meet them typically for the appearance of impropriety and. I make a rare exception for people named Funkhouser because why would you not? And then also Canadian Janes. Think about that. She's probably going to lie anyway, so I don't know. There's no way for me to know whether she's telling the truth, so that it removes the chance of impropriety because someone's just shooting at the hip. You don't know what to make of them, so there's no way to even know if they're for real. So it doesn't even count as a real person that you're meeting.
So do you get much of a chance to size people up, when you?
No, I literally just shake their hands right on set. Right before we tape. Sometimes if I hear they're nervous to meet me, I won't even shake their hands because I like that nervousness on camera. It makes for funniness. And I like to, play. I probably should stop shaking hands before it even starts, because doing it on camera sometimes just gives them that real eclectic. It's like, oh my God, I'm shaking the hand of a game show host. And for a lot of people, you can't get past that. It's like, the people are like, would you want to win $3,000 in a lottery scratch off, or like be given a boat, like a yacht boat as a gift, or meet a game show host? And everybody chooses game show host, and they're wrong, but it makes me feel good.
They're right. Come on.
No, they are right.
So, do you ever have like a sense about people, like they're going to win, they're going to go to pieces? Because like you brought up something interesting, which is you wound up hosting this show because you had to do sort of like what was it, a table read? What would you call it? A conference room? Conference room run through of this show. They committed to 40 episodes, but you did it on a wing and a prayer where you were in New York. You forgot you had this whole conference room thing, and you flew back, red-eyed it both ways, had no sleep, were hungover, and it went beautifully well. Sometimes the planets just align and the stars are in the right place for things to just happen. But you get other folks, I notice this a lot, like especially in radio, and I guess this happens a lot in television too. There's some people that you think, man, they're so cool, they're so fun to talk to and hang out with, and then you put them in front of a microphone and it's like deer in the headlights and everything just all goes to hell. Do you have folks on the show that you're like, what are they doing? Oh, they're actually, have you ever had people just sort of like melt down because they're unprepared for the experience?
Yeah, that's definitely happened. We've had people melt down personality-wise. More so, we've had people melt down mentally on the test. We've had a few episodes where like, it'll be the end of the third round, and the total is $0 to $0. That's always fun. That's always fun when that happens. And then somebody has a shot at $10,000 for getting like one question right. It's always, I enjoy when it's different like that. You know what I mean? But also, you can't blame them. I'm an intimidating presence. I'm 6'8". I'm 375 pounds. I'm a beast of a person. I'm the beast. I host the chase. I'm not the beast. I'm Ben Gleib.
Yeah.
I'm regular size.
Camera does weird things to you.
It does. Candace Cameron does weird things to you as well.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
That's how you get your house fuller.
So, if I've had this conversation with musicians, and I always think it's fun to have it with stand-up comics as well. It all comes from hearing Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains on some radio show when I was a kid growing up in England. And I remember the DJ asked him, like, if you had to pick one album or performance or artist or maybe a show that you went to that really reached you and made you go, oh, music is absolutely it. I have to do something with my life. Quick as a flash, old Jerry was like, oh yeah, Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And I thought that was so cool. And years later, I got a chance to ask him the same question. And I was like, let's see if he gives the same answer. And he did. And I always think that's interesting and telling when you're talking to artists of any kind, including stand-up comics. So for you, if there was one moment, or maybe it was one person's album or a show that you went to that made you go, I got to do this thing of stand-up comedy, or whether it's broadcasting or radio or television, I have to do this. Would you have, because you said like right around 5 or 6, right?
George Carlin, Playing With Your Head album.
See? Everybody has an answer. I love that.
George Carlin is just the greatest comedian to ever live. I mean, he was just so perfect, such a brilliant writer and such a brilliant performer and orator, and he would literally construct his bits and plan different intonations in his voice and different characters and the way he'd deliver. And he explained that he saw stand-up as like an orchestra, like an orchestral arrangement, and he would not, and everybody else just drolly speaks in one voice. And I really tried to do more of what he does, and I don't do it nearly as much as he did, and I should. It's just laziness, but I do it more than most. I have fun with my voice and change my intonations and go up and down and create characters. And
say submarine sandwich again.
Submarine sandwich. Ooh. Submarine sandwich. Submarine sandwich. Toast kuredo. Submarine sandwich. And it was just brilliant. I still remember much of the album by heart. You know, even just the way he would like construct bits. He talks about he said about how tennis is just ping pong played while standing on the table. In fact, all racket boards are just various forms of ping pong played while standing on the table. Even volleyball. Volleyball is racketless team ping pong played while standing on the table with an inflated ball and a raised net.
You know, it's so funny. I never would have connected you and Carlin, but hearing you do Carlin, it totally makes sense. That's awesome. That's really interesting.
You. Yeah, and his daughter his daughter, Kelly Carlin, his only offspring, has become one of my dear friends, and that's a relationship that I cherish in my life so much. Just remember the moment I met her, I just saw her, and I'm like, oh my God, this is George Carlin's daughter. She just like had his essence, and it was a crazy moment, and she became a dear friend of mine. And so it's a really incredible thing to be at all, connected to the vibe of the comedian that meant so much to me. Saw him live twice. Hello. And then as far as a host, it was Johnny Carson. Always was just the most charming, talented, self-effacing, funny, subtle host, and he made me want to be a host. And he ironically started as a game show host as well.
Very, very cool. More with Ben Gleib when we get back. Thank you so much, dude. Or Ben Gleib. Our guest on the show today is Ben Gleib, host of Idiot Test on Game Show Network, which Funkhouser and his girlfriend, Canadian Jane, are going to be on tonight. We excited for this?
Yes.
Very excited.
Are we feeling confident? We did a couple of we did a couple of mock questions. Funkhouser got one right out of the gate. I got one wrong and then argued that I was right, as I often do in these situations. Canadian Jane, you got one as well, I think, right?
No, I delayed and then got it wrong.
Oh, there's $10,000 on the line here tonight.
You know what else? My parents have never met Barry or seen him.
Why?
Yeah.
Embarrassed? You embarrassed? Is that what's going on?
They're on the East Coast there, and I don't even think
It's
they've
about
heard.
a $300 plane ticket. I don't know what's.
I think they've
standing in
heard
your
you.
way.
We're going in August.
It's gonna happen.
Have you guys Skyped? Have you seen them via video?
Sort of.
Skype is free.
Creepily
I was
leaned
in it.
in on a Skype conversation.
I like
They could
that.
see him stalking.
Yeah.
He thought
I was like,
couldn't-
"What's up, parents?"
Why are your parents so afraid of Barry Funkhouser?
they're not. Well, because he
They just-
ominously leaned into the Skype conversation
Sure.
but didn't show his face.
That's what you get for reading Sheryl Sandberg before bed.
So,
Lean in.
Oh,
Lean
Canadian
in.
Jane, are your parents on the East Coast of Canada or the East Coast of America?
right now they moved to New Hampshire. So
Oh, okay.
Or that could be a lie. We don't know.
Yeah, Barry keeps saying
Everything Jane says very well could be a lie on account of her Canadian heritage.
So, but bottom line is,
Like Drake,
I
for
don't know.
example. Drake's real name is Aubrey Graham,
oh yeah,
but he tells you it's Drake,
he
Liar.
was on television. He was in a wheelchair.
right? He can walk, though. His legs work great.
Liar.
Just a bunch of lies. He's got enemies. He's got lots of enemies. No, he doesn't. Everybody loves him. Everything he says is a lie. Everything comes out of his mouth is a lie.
So wait a second, hold on. They're in New Hampshire, which means they can get Game Show Network and watch.
Yeah, they're gonna watch.
They're going to watch, and so really, this
Tonight
is their
at
first
10
real
and
introduction to your boyfriend that you are kind of shacked up with. Not so much. Yes,
Yeah, that is correct.
Whoa,
whoa.
man, whoa. Well, I guess they know now. Jeez.
What if they don't like him after the show airs
That's the
tonight
thing.
at 10:30, 9:30 Central on GSN? What happens then?
Well, I made sure to start them out with an intelligence test, so they'll have.
Oh.
I like
So wait
that.
a second, this could be an interesting one. This could be a situation where your parents walk away from it being like, nice guy, but he lost you $10,000 by getting that question wrong.
True.
It's all on the line.
And I encourage everybody listening to warm up to the Funkhouser and Lying Canadian Jane episode. At 10 o'clock, we have another episode airing tonight, a brand new episode involving 4 great contestants. 2 of them are little people, which we'd never had on the show before. So that's interesting to see the way their minds work.
You had naked people last week.
Naked people last week. I was naked last week.
You were naked?
Were you naked
I
in the
was.
commercial? You were not naked.
The nation is still recovering. I was pants down naked, but there was a lot of nakedness on the stage, and you couldn't really focus on my
Lots of
legs, and I
blurs.
don't blame
That's the best audience view, that episode.
you. And then we also lost lots of people, and some people will never look at the show again after that. But and then at 10:30, 9:30 Central, we got Funkhouser and Canadian Jane doing their best. Then when you're done with that, people should tune in to Showtime and watch my stand-up special, Neurotic Gangster.
That's the thing.
Available on Showtime and Amazon On Demand through Showtime and all that. I mean, that's what I would do with my evening. It's up to you. That's what I do with my evening every night.
So there's potentially what? Like how long's your stand-up special?
It's an hour, so we got 2 hours of programming.
2
for you
hours
tonight.
of Ben Gleib on TV tonight. That was exciting stuff.
Yeah, and the only problem
only
with that
that-
is it's going to be hard for your life to compare moving forward.
Right, you know, you do set the bar high.
Thank you.
And then you got to come back down to earth. But I mean, here's the thing: you host this show, so I would imagine that most nights there's how often is this on? Is it once a week, two times?
Twice every
how
Tuesday.
Often does
It's on 2 episodes every Tuesday.
Okay.
10 and 10:30. But then don't worry, you can rewatch the special. You can also listen to my podcast, Last Week on Earth, on Wednesdays, where I summarize the world. So I'm not going to leave you hanging too long. You're going to have to get through the weekend by yourself. But I have faith that people can pull that off moderately successfully.
Well, you got archives, too, if they
We
can.
have archives, to strong point, 157 podcast episodes, 145 game show episodes. You can get at them. Maybe pirate some old Chelsea Lately episodes. I'm kidding. Don't pirate them. Don't pirate them. But you could, maybe buy the box set that's not available. You can't watch those anymore. But the point is, you can't. I have a lot of things on YouTube. A lot of YouTube videos. You could waste days.
So you, like pretty much every other stand-up comic that we've had on the show, when you said that you forgot that you had a conference room read for this game show and you forgot and went to the East Coast instead, on paper, that sounds like, what are you doing? This is your shot. How could you possibly miss that? But talking to you and pretty much every other stand-up comic that is on the show, you're all doing 8 million things. It's sort of, I guess, part of the price that you pay for having a job like being a stand-up comic, as opposed to having a job where you got to go punch a clock or swing a hammer or something of that nature. But all of you seem to be doing so much. And you're all on every single platform because you have to be.
I didn't even mention that I'm, touring constantly. I'm in San Antonio this weekend and then St. Louis and Chicago and Minneapolis. I didn't mention that I'm doing content every day on Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I didn't mention that occasionally I breathe and have some sexy time alone with myself and my thoughts. I didn't mention a lot of that stuff because I didn't want to bore people with every detail. But yeah, you can follow me at Ben Gleib on everything. I mean, you got to be a one-man machine. It really is quite a lot of work. I'm developing my new hour of stand-up right now, so people don't come out and see the same material from the special. So I'm developing that hardcore right now. I'm developing another TV show. I'm auditioning.
I saw that on Twitter that you were like, I will be doing a show of material that is not on my special. Do you have to make that clear now?
I don't have to, but I like to make it clear because I don't want people saying, I just saw it. It's going to be the same junk. Not junk, same brilliant stuff. So I like to make it clear, but it's a huge challenge. The special just aired, and so I'm hard at work developing that new stuff.
Well, what's interesting? You brought up George Carlin. I remember Louis C.K. once said Carlin was his hero, too, for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was the fact that the old paradigm for stand-up comics is you're working on the same 10, 15, 20 minutes for the first 10 years of your show. You're sort of honing a very small amount of time. And he said that Carlin had this thing where he would do a year touring the material for a special, record the special, and then junk everything and start all over again. And at the time, that seemed like kind of a monumental task. But now with every single platform being accessible, with Twitter and YouTube and every single form of video capturing you as a stand-up comic and putting you out there and giving away the punchlines to your jokes before people go see them live, do you find that you have to do that now? You have to sort of scrap last year's material and start over again on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. I for whatever reason, people seem to be pretty respectful about not posting your actual stand-up material, and you can still tour with that stuff for a long time, but that's not the reason that I try to write new stuff. Plenty of, most comedians keep that same hour forever, but you're not going to be one of the greats. I want to be one of the greats. I want to be one of the best ever. And to be one of the best ever, you can't be giving them the same jokes year after year. And for too long, I've been actually doing that too, because I really felt maybe egotistically that the material I developed was worthy of a special. I really wanted it to be on the special. I didn't want to give up that material and move on from it until I got it to as broad an audience as I could. And now with that special, I have no excuses left anymore. So I had to finally step up. And so I just retired the entire hour. I'll never say the material again. And I'm just trying to, if I want to be one of the greats, from now on, every time you come see me once a year in your local city, it'll be a brand new hour. I'm going to do that every year.
And so is this your first special, Neurotic Gangster, on Showtime?
It is. It's my first special.
Oh, that's really, really exciting. That's awesome. You know what? I just kind of like look at your body of work, and it's all very impressive, honestly. Like, you've achieved so much. You do a lot. And I just, I don't know, maybe just sort of like looking at everything that it is you are and everything that it is you do, I had assumed that maybe this was, one in a long line of specials. But that's awesome. Congratulations, Ben Gleib, on your first special. That's so cool.
I appreciate it. It's very, very exciting because you lay groundwork for so long as a comedian. And you hope people get excited when you finally drop that special. And granted, I promoted my butt off to get the word out. But when it started premiering a couple weeks ago, the first premiere date when it aired on the East Coast, it was trending on Twitter nationwide. Yes. So that was pretty awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you
so
very
cool.
much. That was exciting.
And I think that there's a real life lesson to be learned from a lot of stand-up comics. And, you're all about the ha-has and the hee-hees. And, from the outside looking in, it's a very different picture from what it actually is to be living it, just in terms of the amount of heavy lifting and work that one has to do, especially in this day and age. It's not like you get the Tonight Show and your life changes for stand-up comics like it used to be. But it's very, very cool, I think, how you do what you do. I have so much respect for you and pretty much every single stand-up comic, whether I find them to be funny or not. If you manage to make a living doing this, it's so cool because it really is, in its essence, one of the purest things that you can do. It's just you and a microphone, and you win or you lose on your own merits. And it's just, I don't know, that to me, that level of independence and accountability for yourself. Like, A, it's so cool to have achieved that. B, it really takes some stones to take that amount of responsibility for your own life. You can't go, you passed me over for promotion again. What the hell, man? Really, it comes down to you, and it's a very brave and inspiring way to go through life.
Thank you, man. And I appreciate those words, and that was a very inspiring speech you gave. It almost sounded Pacino-esque. It was like reminiscent of his halftime speach in Any Given Sunday.
Do you get the Pacino thing? Do you get the, like, because I was like scrolling through your Twitter feed. Yeah, because I was like, oh, look, there's something with a young Al Pacino on his thing.
I do
oh, wait,
hear
that's
that
him.
sometimes. I hear a wide range of celebrities that I look like, but I do get Pacino sometimes, but not as much of it as you probably get when you give speeches like that. I mean, you basically were just saying to me, like, you live and die on your own merits. You go out there, a stage, one microphone, and that crowd, either they connect to you or they don't. You're getting tomatoes in the face some nights, but some nights they come out and stand on their feet in applause, baby. I'm inspired right now. I'm charged up.
Hoo-ah.
Ooh, I'm barely getting warmed up, AD.
That's so cool, though. It's like it really is awesome. It's not even like being in a band. Something goes wrong on stage, you can't turn around, blame it on the bass player.
And the band, you don't even need a particular reaction from that crowd. They could be listening and enjoying quietly. You need to elicit a physical response, a specific one from that crowd. They must laugh and laugh hard. Otherwise, you fail. It's like being a magician, only less creepy. And the girls aren't as hot, which is inexplicable. Women make weird choices. Women make very strange choices.
Ben Gleib, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a blasty blast. Tonight, Game Show Network, Funkhouser and Canadian Jane compete for $10,000 on Idiot Test, hosted by Ben Gleib. Everybody watch, everybody wish Funkhouser and Canadian Jane good luck. Barry Funkhouser and his girlfriend, Canadian Jane, were on the game show Idiot Test. This is what happened.
Well, you both touched the same answer, so if you're both correct, you will win $10,000. Jane, why don't you tell me first what you did?
I completely guessed.
Really?
Yeah.
Total guess, no idea what's going on here.
I didn't want to lose.
So that's why you touched lose?
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to lose, so you touched it. Like you erased that from existence. Mm-hmm. Barry, what did you do?
I had 2 seconds left, and I also didn't want to lose.
You also didn't want to lose, so you both gravitated towards the word lose and touched it.
Yeah.
We even gave you a hint in there because the O in OK and the O in 1, we put that capitalized as a little hint. OK, logically, which one doesn't belong? Well, if you put the O in front of each of those words, it makes another word. In all but one case, O pen, olive, overt, men, lose ain't a word. You both touched it, you won $10,000.
What?
Yeah. Why am I here today? Bye.
Yeah.
Well done. Come on, this is the hug I want. This is the group hug I want. Take that in for a minute. $10,000. You guys were fantastic. Thank you for playing. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to follow us on all social media. #IdiotTest. Check out BenGleib.com. Until next time, be like these guys. Don't be an idiot. Good night. That was fun.
Yeah.
And here to celebrate their victory is the host of the show, Ben Gleib, back again.
Hey, he's here again. Yay.
Yeah, we were worried you'd be commiserating, but you are celebrating with Funkhouser and Canadian Jane.
I like giving the money away. I enjoy giving away the money because it's not my money. This is not Win Ben Stein's money. It's the network's money. It doesn't cost me anything. And so I enjoy giving their money away.
Were you impressed? Did you think they had it at the end?
Well, I knew the answer.
Right, but did you think they knew the answer?
No,
Like,
I knew
did you
that
have
they
faith?
had no idea. I had a good sense they had no idea. I sensed that they were completely
This is going on in our head right now.
way in. Yeah, I could tell that they just made a random touch, and they got very, very lucky, and it's exciting. And I'm expecting a thank you present in the neighborhood of $1,000 to $3,000. You'll still have $9,000 to $7,000 left.
You and the government.
Yeah, but if you give the host a gift, then you could write that off. Or that's a bribe. I'm going to rescind asking for a
Well, I mean,
prize
if they've
and
already
just
won, I don't think you can.
Good point.
Like, you can't take that money away from them. I think it is not a bribe. I don't think it shows any impropriety. I think they should get you a very nice gift.
Okay, I'm
Gleib.
back
That's
on.
what I
I'd
think.
love a great
Yeah.
gift. And hopefully Funkhouser is the one that says he'll give it to me and not Canadian Jane over here, because that could be obviously
That would be
not
false.
truthful.
Yeah, Canadians.
Because Canadians lie.
Canadians lie more often than there are bears in the woods over there with honey. They make honey. They eat honey. Bees make honey is the point. See, but the bears are like, we make honey because they're Canadian bears and they're damn liars.
So aside from aside from giving Ben Gleib a gift, what are you guys going to do with your $10,000? Do you have it earmarked for anything?
Yeah, well, we got a couple credit cards going to pay off there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was unemployed, so
Yeah, that was our job.
it'll be paying for my car, probably.
Yeah, I would
and
like to
we're,
make clear that I was kidding about them getting me a gift.
and we're
'cause I
taking
don't
Ben
wanna-
out
I don't want
for-
to lose my job. You're not taking me out. If anything, I'm buying beers if we ever see each other in public.
Yay!
Super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser. This is a guy who, one of the best people walking the face of the planet. One of the best people that you could ever hope to meet in any way, shape, or form. A guy who is always quietly behind the scenes attempting to do good. Not necessarily by specific actions, like not a guy that is sort of, can I get you to contribute to this charity that I work for, in a really obvious, overt way, but just the way this guy goes through his life is an act of charity. The world is better for having Funkhouser in it because of the way he treats the people around him, because of the way he leaves the world a little bit better than the way he finds it every single day. Whether he's on the radio, off the radio, driving in his car, dealing with the people that he deals with, the world is better for Barry Funkhouser. Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
This is, no. It's just an awesome day because you're one of those guys that you just, it was time for you to have a win. You don't bring much of your personal baggage on the air. But over the last 6, 9, 12, 18, maybe even 24 months, you've had a rough way to go.
Ups and
of certain
downs, man.
things. Ups and downs. And all the downs that we've seen you go through, and I mean the royal we, have made us wish for some ups for you. So I could not be happier that you had the moment of soul and life-affirming victory of winning $10,000
thousand. Yes, thank you.
on a TV game show. And you know what it is? It's such a weird, random set of circumstances. Like, I don't know. On the one hand, it's a TV game show where you won some money. On the other hand, what could really be responsible for that other than the universe rewarding somebody that deserves it? I like to think of it that way. I hope you do
thank
as well.
you. Yes,
because you were due for a win, and that's quite a hefty win. What went through your mind when you realized that you'd won through a guess? All the smarts that you and Canadian Jane had up till that point, very smart, very, very well educated, well thought out answers to all the questions that got you to the position where you could win $10,000 on Idiot Test. All that kind of went out the window, and you both guessed the final question. And you freaking won. You won. Like, it's crazy. How did you feel?
I didn't feel much. I was kind of like, just out of it toward the end, putting all your energy into touching the right or wrong answer. And then it comes down to the end. It didn't really register because we guessed at the end. And I'm like, oh, we got it right. Nothing kind of went through my head. I was just like kind of in a daze.
Now, $10,000, not necessarily a life-changing amount of money, but...
Oh, so I shouldn't have bought a chrome Fisker? Because maybe I should call someone.
Yeah, see what to do with your new riches. Call Oprah. She's adept at dealing with this sort of financial situation.
Oh, we're having brunch, me and Oprah.
That's awesome, but like, did the idea of like, I just became $10,000 richer? Did that? I've never won. I'm trying to think of anything that I've. When I was 5 in a raffle, I won a year's worth of karate lessons. Like, that was pretty cool. But cool. Beyond that, I can't remember the last time I won anything at all. Like, $10,000 is a lot. How does that make you feel? Has the check cleared yet, or will it be a surreal non-reality until the money hits the bank account?
You got it. That.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, I won 10,000 somethings. We'll see if it comes in the mail.
Uh-huh. Now, what sort of effect do you suppose this had on your relationship with Canadian Jane? Like, I've always thought, those stupid little office trips you take out to, play softball or go do trivia games or things of that nature. What do they call it in the corporate world? Team building exercises. I've always thought that there's a little bit more to them. Like, if you go into that sort of thing with an open heart, and you win with your coworkers at something, I think it's an incredibly bonding thing. Losing at something with your coworkers can be a bonding thing as well in its own way. But it's really good to win something with someone. It's awesome. The actual and emotional high fives build a strong foundation between people in that situation. Do you think this has affected your relationship with Canadian Jane?
Well, probably not, but I was worried because when we filmed that thing, our relationship was new, and by the time it aired, our relationship was not new, and luckily we're still just as infatuated as we were when it was new, but you know how that could have turned out.